What's up, everybody? This is Anthony, that's Melanie, and we are 4th on 5th. So, in the last video, people wanted to know if I was on something, if I was high. Now, it looked like I was having a really good time, and I was having a great time.
We have a great time at our house.
We do.
Especially when the kids go to bed.
Yeah. That just puts me in a euphoric mood all by itself.
So wait, light up your cigar and we'll be right back.
Yeah. And we've like cut our cigars like 8 times because Mel keeps on botching the front of the video. So we'll be right back, guys.
All right, so the last video is really interesting how I got a million comments saying that Anthony, basically asking like, what's in Anthony's cigar? Is he high? Blah, 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 blah. Well, funny thing is, like, he never does drugs. Like, the person who actually did drugs was... Who did drugs in our marriage? Yeah, it was probably me. Like, I probably lost like 1 million brain cells. So I probably could be like a scientician, but
There's a very good example of why you shouldn't do drugs, kids.
This is like the example. This is why all I do now is cigars. And
people want to hear this.
I was about to go to school, but then I got high. Do you remember that song?
No.
You didn't know that song?
I got high.
Let's just talk right now.
What's up, everybody? This is Anthony, and this is 4th on 5th. And I'm without Melanie right now. I'm sure she'll cut in a bunch of footage from earlier, but essentially, she's drunk, and she can't be in the video. So while she's doing this, you're gonna get the story that I wanted to tell. Point being, the other night, it looked like I might have been drunk or high on life. And I was high on life, not actually high on a drug. But it reminded me of the first time I ever had drugs. For those who know me, not a big fan of them. Once again, you do them, it's you, do you. Just not my thing. I didn't want to lose control in life or those things early on. I was focused when I was at a younger stage. What am I kidding? I'm always focused. Point being is I didn't want it to mess up my chances to do anything that I wanted to do later in life. Rewind from this point to like 3 trade shows ago, and I had my first experience with marijuana. I had no idea at the time, and it is a funny story. So I had been working the trade show floor all day with my partner, and we had been running and gunning. Didn't have time with all the appointments we had to take a lunch break. So I was really hungry at the end of the day. I'm a big guy, so I need food at some point. Done, we're over dropping off some orders at the Caldwell booth. And one of their other reps, was a big fan of the marijuana. And I knew that he was a fan of it, but I didn't put 2 and 2 together. So as we were talking, we're kind of just debriefing. He's like, dude, I've got he had these Swedish fish. He's like, I got some Swedish fish, you want some? I'm like, dude, I'm starving, I'd love some. And he hands me 2 of them, and I just chuck them in my mouth and start eating them. And before my partner could get out, he's like, you do know what those are? And I'm like, yeah, Swedish fish, obviously. He's like, no, those are medicated. I'm like, medicated? He's like, yeah. I'm like, Swedish fish are medicated? Just not putting 2 and 2 together. Should have. Boy, did I later on. He's like, yeah, man, you're going to be high as a kite. I'm like, high as a kite? I'm like, I've never done drugs. He's like, oh, you're going to be really high. And I'm like, oh. So, I'm just kind of waiting for it. I'm like, we go back to the room, we get dressed, we have a dinner for Caldwell that night. And I remember calling Mel, hey, babe, I ate 2 Swedish fish. I'm like, I'm not sure I'm going to make it. And I was like really worried that I was gonna I don't know what I was expecting it to do. I guess kill me, but it wasn't gonna kill me. But anyway, I leave this long message about how I'm really worried that I'm gonna die from this, and she's all freaking out, and she calls me back, and I'm like, I ingested 2 things, and she's like, oh, you're just gonna be really high. And I'm like, everybody keeps saying that, what does that mean? So we walked down to go to dinner. And it's been, I don't know, maybe half an hour, 45 minutes. And I wasn't really feeling anything yet, so I'm like, oh, this isn't bad. Like, maybe this won't happen. All of a sudden, boom, hits me. Now, at the time when we were down waiting for the dinner, we got there a little bit early, so we're sitting there, bright lights, gaming, colors, people, and I'm just like looking at everything like, whoo, this is kind of colorful. And all of a sudden, my friend Akil from Regis Cigars comes walking up, and he's wearing like this white linen suit with like aviators on and a pink shirt, and he looked like Packy Vice. And I'm like, dude, once again, you see this guy walking in there wearing this getup, and you're like, is that really happening? Or am I just imagining this? And no, he actually was wearing that getup. Ridiculous. Pretty sure Miami Vice would have liked their style back. Anyway, it's getting weirder. It was hitting really hard. Everything, it was kind of, world was kind of not spinning, but it felt very, very warm and fuzzy, so to speak. And so we go to dinner, and I'm just sitting there like looking at the bread, just like, and I just start mowing down on bread. Because in the world of, you know, bartending and different things like that, when I did that, and when I used to be in college, like I would drink a fair amount. Like I've definitely been on the different sides of, you know, sober and not sober a few points in my life. So obviously one of the tricks you learn along the way, especially being a bigger guy, is that if you have a lot of body mass to kind of diffuse it through. So if you eat a little bit, it tends to kind of take the edge off, helps things calm down a bit. Well, I do that thinking that that's going to help the situation. And once again, wrong. I know nothing about marijuana, so little did I know that that was really just going to act as more of a catalyst and just send me to the moon. So I'm just sitting there like staring off into space throughout this whole dinner. And they're like, is your guy all right? And I'm like, uh-huh. And my partner's like, you know, covering for me, thankfully. But I was just a space cadet. And we get out, we go down to the Circle Bar afterwards. And I just remember going there, and I see once again bright lights, lots of people. Had a lot of people coming up and conversing with me. And I'm just like, I cannot converse intelligently right now. I'm like, I'm done. I'm out. I'm going back to my room because this is just too much. So I go back to my room, and I just remember like couch lock, or this really heavy like relaxation stage kicks in, and my mental faculties were so gone that I just like, I could think about what needed to be done, but I couldn't do it because that was so much mental energy that I just didn't have. So I remember I was trying to set my alarm for the next day, and I'm like sitting there for like 20 minutes. It seemed like 20 minutes. Once again, totally high as a kite. I have no idea how long it was. But I just remember trying to set the alarm and going, and just dropping it. Couldn't do it, and I just passed out. Woke up the next day, thankfully early enough, and everything was fine. But it was a experience I'll never forget. So that was my first experience with marijuana. And it was quite the experience, to say the least. One which I never really care to repeat again on that level. So Mel wanted me to tell a story just because it is a fun story, cigar related, of course. And although I was not high the other night, there was a time where I was super high, and it was an adventure. So if you like this video and like other stories like this, we'll keep on telling, you know, like I said, we'll tell goofy stories, serious stories, and other moments. So don't forget to subscribe down below. Give us a thumbs up if you liked it. Leave your comments down there if you ever had an experience similar to that where you accidentally dosed yourself or got dosed and it led to funny situations. And we will see you next time. Stay smoky. I'm gonna go take care of my wife, and I'm gonna have to carry her drunken ass upstairs. So this is Anthony. That's Melanie somewhere. And we're from Forward on 5th. Stay smoky, everybody.